Not allowed to use the phone at the desk? This one is based on an experience my wife had at a previous job. Around 12 years ago, my wife, GF at the time, worked for a small IT recruitment company as a recruiter. The offices were quite small, situated on the first floor of an office block with no balcony or kitchen, or any place to really take a proper lunch break. So, my wife just sat at her desk during her allocated tea and lunch breaks and browsed her phone. Her PC was locked from accessing any websites such as FB and such. She found out that she was reported several times for being on her phone at her desk, something that was not allowed while working, but argued that she was on her lunch break and that she was not working and could be on her phone. She was then told that she cannot be on her phone at her desk as her colleagues can't know that she's on a break. She argued that there is nowhere to go for breaks, except for downstairs and outside, a place where the smokers take regular breaks. But, nope, she was not allowed on her phone at her desk. So, from that day on, whenever the group of smokers took a break, she would go downstairs and stand with them, browse her phone, and come up with them. This meant that she took breaks as frequently as the smokers did, and she was away from her desk far more than she was taking her previous breaks for. It's small, but she felt a little victory inside. Luckily she didn't stay in that job long. I've never understood why smokers get more breaks than non-smokers. I'm not sure about your location, but where I am you must legally be provided a space away from your workspace to take breaks. Even shops usually have a gross table in a back room somewhere, usually equipped with a non- or semi-functional microwave and smelly fridge. I didn't like that smokers had more breaks than everyone else. So a friend and I started taking fresh air breaks, where we'd simply go outside for 10 minutes with a tea or coffee and chat. No one in management ever said a word. We're going full open concept office soon and I can see the same issue happening for myself. So I bought a sign that says, "Be back in," with a clock that I can move the hands on like the ones at any store. I'll add a "on break" at the top. I'm sure it will piss off management, but what can they do? I was in a similar situation once. I used to play mobile games on my phone during my lunch break. I actually had a place to go, though, namely, the break room. I would be sitting there playing games, usually while my lunch was in the microwave or after having eaten it, playing on my phone. I wasn't taking long breaks or anything. I kept my eye on the time. My boss didn't like that, apparently, even though it was clearly lunchtime and I was in the break room. He didn't ever want to see me on my phone, and he said so. My bathroom breaks got suspiciously longer and more frequent, especially around break times. After that request my boss didn't seem to notice. Out of sight, out of mind, I suppose. Back in '85 my Govit office got PCs. Because of that the whole office had to be redone. Cubicles replaces a sea of battleship gray desks. New carpets. They never swept up the nuts and bolts before laying it down, and added a drop ceiling. Before that it was 2.5 stories high and the place was always too hot or cold depending on the ceiling. We got put in trailers for a few months as the office floor was being redone. 3-floor building. The base commander, military base though mostly logistic civilians, decided smoking was no longer allowed inside. Yay, though it may have been a new Govit-wide regulation. A year later, I then transferred to a different state to be closer to family and get a promotion. I was told that there was one guy who refused to stop smoking even after higher levels of authority got after him. He finally left for a job at a defense contractor. When he got there he found that they no longer allowed smoking in that building. In the 1990s I worked in one of the worst elementary schools in New York City. I could write a book about that miserable experience. At the time I enjoyed lunch at my desk in class where I would read my newspaper, love old-fashioned muckraking tabloids, and have a caffeine-laden soda. One year somebody complained to my principal about me being lazy. I kept having supervisors peer in my class, and if they noticed me reading a newspaper I would get a dressing down. Really couldn't say anything, and my union was useless. If I stood up for myself I would find myself in the position of having a carefully selected class the following year with the absolutely most disturbed children you can imagine. Think of a mental institution without straitjackets. I had to lock my door and hide in an uncomfortable corner of my room that was not visible so I could decompress from the stressful morning of corralling out-of-control children. I tried explaining to my principal that what I was doing was a win-win for the school. By not going outside I was always available in an emergency. And believe me, there were plenty of emergencies. Nonetheless, supervisors just love exerting their power. I once followed some smokers out to the loading dock where I bummed a cigarette, lit it, and just held it while it burned down. It wasn't long after that before management put a limit on how frequently people could take smoke breaks. I just scoot my chair out of my cubicle into the walkway when I'm on break with phone. I'm at the end though, so I'm not impeding flow. It would have been fun if she made a giant sign to put on her desk when she is on her lunch break. IDK why smokers get more breaks. I had the same happen when I was working a contract IT position. I used to browse while eating lunch at my desk. Same excuse. We can't tell when you are working or not. I said if I'm eating I'm taking my lunch break. Nope. That wasn't good enough for them. So I started eating lunch in my car. Turned down permanent job offer when my contract expired. Haha, I used to secondhand smoke years ago when a friend I worked with took a smoke break. Always take a smoke break. It benefits your health to get up and walk around. You get away from the desk. And it is a chance to get to know your coworkers. Just stand upwind. I think I'd have gotten one of those trifold foam boards the kids use at the science fair and set it up at my desk when I'm on my break. Maybe cut it down so it's not quite so dramatic. Cover it with wallpaper on the outside to look pretty. And put relaxing photos inside. I used to always take second-hand smoke breaks with the others. Have to build up that team spirit. And lung cancer. At my old company of about 40 people, around 5 people in the company didn't smoke. Everyone on my team did, vaped. So when they went out, which was 4 or 5 times a day, I was the only person in our office room. I got more annoyed about it in my second year there as the team doubled in size. From 4 to 8, the entirety of my team getting almost an extra hour's break a day to smoke. Yeah, I think I'll just chill on my phone the entire time they're out the room then. The sad thing here, to me, is that 10 minutes is a completely ignorable portion of the day. If you do or don't get an extra 10 minutes of work in, no one will notice. Furthermore, 10 minutes of break is likely to help you reset anything you might be stuck on. Give you a chance away from an annoying coworker or customer, etc. A good manager would say. As long as you're getting your job done and aren't abusing this policy, go ahead. The fact that you started taking smoke breaks and no one cared confirms. Why do bosses gotta be evil? I've smoked for years and I've never been allowed to take extra breaks. I applaud her for the workaround, but I couldn't stand being close to smokers like that. Hopefully she could stand away from their AOE.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.